Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my July book haul video. There weren't too many new releases in July in general, and then on top of that there weren't too many that I was super interested in, so I don't have as many new releases to show you, but I did get a lot of really pretty classic books this month, so I'm going to start with the new releases and then get into the other books that I got. So the first one that I have here is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This was the Owl Crate book of the month, and the cover is the Owl Crate exclusive edition, so the original one has kind of like a teal green like for the writing and for the spine, and this one has light blue and orange writing. It is a historical fiction novel and it has an element of fantasy to it. It follows a character named Monty, who is your typical irresponsible drink-loving, gambling teenage boy, and he is going on a tour through Europe, and then once he finishes the tour he's expected to take over his father's estate, but he has to kind of learn some responsibility along the way because he is not the most reliable of people. Then I got Final Girls by Riley Sager, and this I was so highly anticipating. My friend Cassie read it and she made it sound so good, so I just was like, I need it, and I would like look at it online every day and be like, why aren't you out yet? And then it finally came and I read it and I loved it just as much as she did. It follows a girl who is a baking blogger, but more interestingly, she is considered a final girl who has survived a massacre, and there are two other girls that are in the same situation as her, and then one of them commits suicide, and the two of them team up to see if that is really the case and what else is going on. And also the girl who's a baking blogger, she completely lost her memory of the massacre that she was involved in. So she's been questioned so many times about things that have happened, but she's just repressed the memories. So you get to see her current narrative, and then you also get to see flashbacks to what happened at Pine Cottage while she was there. Then I got The Disappearances by Emily Bain Murphy. I actually already read this one too. I had not realized, but this is actually a historical fiction book. So it takes place in the 1940s and takes place in this town where there are all of these things called the disappearances that are happening. So every 7 years something else disappears from the town. But yeah, it was a really fun and mysterious type of novel. Then I got Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero, and I love this cover so much. It is so beautiful. I love all the neon colors, but it follows a group of kids who would solve mysteries together as teenagers in their town, but they haven't seen each other in a lot of years, and then they're all called together again to solve a new mystery that has arisen. As you can see, it is kind of very much inspired by Scooby-Doo. There are a couple of meddling kids, and then there's their dog that they also solve crimes with. I feel like I'm really going to enjoy this. Even the back is pretty too. Then I got Because You Love to Hate Me by various authors. Lots of authors and booktubers, and each booktuber was paired with a different author, and they came up with stories about a particular villain. And I feel like I don't need to say anything else about this because I'm sure that you've seen this on everyone's channel. Then I got The Savage Dawn by Melissa Gray. Finally! This is the final book in the Girl at Midnight trilogy, and I am so excited to find out what the ending is going to be. This is a super underrated fantasy series, but it is so well written and I love the whole story. So if you have not yet read this, I highly suggest going out and picking up The Girl at Midnight because it is really, really good, and I think that you'll really love it. I went to the book launch for it, so I have it signed by Melissa herself. Then I got Lucky in Love by Casey West. To be honest, this was not my favorite Casey West book of all time, but I really love Casey West as an author, and I want to have all of her books, so that is why I picked this one up. But it follows a girl who wins the lottery, and then her life gets real complicated. Then I was really excited to get an arc of Magician's Impossible by Brad Abraham. It's going to be coming out in September of this year. Brad is somebody that I have known on Twitter, like, since I started Twitter years ago, and he was a comic book writer. This is his first novel, and I'm really excited to read it. On the back, it's compared to, it said that it's like Harry Potter meets James Bond. So that's really cool. But this is an adult fantasy novel. So it says that it follows a 20-something slacker named Jason whose father commits suicide. And then afterward, Jason finds out that his father was actually a a secret agent. And Jason himself kind of gets thrust into the middle of all of these insane battles. So in order to survive, Jason is going to have to kind of learn how to master all of the magic that has been dormant inside him for all of this time. This is one that I'm really, really looking forward to reading. Like I said, it comes out in September, so definitely keep this one on your radar. I also got Coming Up for Air by Miranda Kinali, and this is the final book in the 100 Oaks series. This is just a fun contemporary series. Each book follows a girl in a different sport. I believe this one is about swimming, and I need to catch up on the rest of the series before I'm able to read this one, but I've read the first two so far, and they're really like enjoyable, fun, quick reads, especially good for the summertime, so I wanted to get this one to complete my collection. Then I got a book that is very appropriate for Cassie and I's Finds with Wine book club, and it is called Wine All the Time by Marissa A. Ross. And Marissa, I actually became aware of Marissa a couple of years ago when Zooey Deschanel and Sophia Rossi and Molly McAdams started Hello Giggles. Marissa was one of the writers on it, and I've always enjoyed the articles that she wrote, and I thought that her the articles that she would write about wine on there were really fun. And so since then I've just been following her online, and this is now her new book that came out, and it is about wine, which I love. From what I have heard other people say, it's a really fun and informative book to just be more familiar with the different kinds of wines, and if you want more knowledge about what you're drinking, which I would love to have that, so I got this one. Then Scholastic sent me a finished copy of Mean Girls, so thank you so much to them for this. I'm really excited to read this one. It's a novelization of Mean Girls the movie, and also the Mean Girls cast for Broadway has been announced, so it's just a very Mean Girls time. Then I got Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and I have wanted to read this for a really long time. I've heard a lot of people say nothing but good things about it. This is an adult literary fiction book, and it's an intergenerational story that follows characters who are escaping to the West from Nigeria. Now on to the pretty classics. Penguin Classics came out with a beautiful collection of books that consists of all of F. Scott Fitzgerald's works, and since I love The Great Gatsby and I love how all these books look together, I felt the need to pick up a couple of titles, and I actually have a couple more that are on their way to me right now. So obviously first I got a copy of The Great Gatsby. I hope that it's not getting too washed out. I guess if I lean it you can kind of see it, but it's so pretty. It has this rose gold. All of these books are metallic, and they just look so nice together. And then the spine too. I got Tender is the Night, that's fine, and Flappers and Philosophies. And I just think that these are so beautiful, and they're so 20s looking, and they just make me so happy. They're actually right now being used as the centerpiece on my kitchen table. I have a little thing of flowers on top of them. Then I got this copy of Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. I can't remember if I included the other two books in this collection in my past book haul, so I'm just going to show them again just in case. So there's this one. I got Anne of Green Gables, and I also got The Secret Garden, and I just think they're so pretty. There's also Little Women and I think The Wind in the Willows, but I haven't gotten those ones just yet. Then I got two Penguin Clothbound Classics editions. The first one being Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is a classic that I have wanted to read for as long as I can remember, and I never have, so I thought I would get a nice copy of it, and maybe that would motivate me to pick it up. And the other one that I got was The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is another classic where I've always found the premise to be very intriguing, so I've always wanted to read it. I've read a couple of Oscar Wilde's plays, and they're so funny, so I feel like I'll enjoy this book, and also just his quotes tend to be my favorite quotes of all time. So I'm always looking forward to reading the things that he has written that I haven't read yet. Then I'm not sure what this collection is called, but I got a couple of more classics that are really pretty. The first one being Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I read this book when I was in high school. I buddy read it with my mom, and it was really enjoyable. It's a really, really beautiful, and the descriptions are so flowery and wonderful. So I really loved this classic, and I really wanted a better edition than what I had. Mine was a boring paperback copy that kind of looks like a romance novel, but this one is just gorgeous. And then in the same like aesthetic, I also picked up The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. Yes, I think I said that right. I actually hadn't heard of this one before. I was just looking for books that fit into that same like look that Rebecca did, and it sounds really fun. So it follows these two like unhappy housewives who rent this beautiful place to stay in Italy, and through a newspaper ad they find two more women to come and join them, and it's all about them spending their April in this beautiful Italian setting and trying to like come to terms with their everyday lives and just get appreciation for them. And then I also got My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier, and I actually don't know what this one is about, but again, this is the same author that wrote Rebecca, so I am really interested in reading her other work. Then only a couple more. I got a really pretty illustrated edition of Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. That's like at the end page. Look at how pretty. So I'm very excited to read this one. I also picked up a copy of Our Town by Thornton Wilder. I've always wanted to read or see this play, but I have not. And Andrew took me to Connecticut for my birthday. We went to Mystic, Connecticut, and while we were there, we made sure to go to Niantic, Connecticut, and go to the Book Barn, which is a place I've always wanted to go. There is a hobbit hole there. It was so beautiful, but they have really, really discounted books. So I got this hardcover copy, $4. You can't beat that. And also while we were there, I got this amazing hardcover of Stories for Christmas by Charles Dickens, featuring A Christmas Carol, obviously, but it's so beautiful. It's cloth bound. It has a red ribbon. The spine is beautiful. I just love it. This was $5. So how could I not? And I also, while I was there, got The Sea Wolf by Jack London. This is a beautiful illustrated edition of this book. Look at that page. Look at the chapter headers. So pretty. So yeah, again, $4. And those are all of the books that I picked up in July. I hope that you enjoyed my haul. Let me know if you picked up anything in July and what you're planning on picking up in the near future. And I will see you guys in a new video. Bye!